host, Napalm Dawn, and we are in Marvel Avengers Alliance Redux Beta 2 today. It's also valid for Beta 3. And this content isn't specifically Redux related. It is both Marvel Avengers Alliance and Avengers Alliance Redux related. Before we continue with the video, I'm going to get some things right out of the way in the beginning few minutes of the video, because invariably these questions will show up somewhere down in the comments. No, there's not going to be a mobile version. As for Beta 4, Goofy is currently still working on it. It was originally due to be released in late December, Christmas Eve. However, he is currently going through a lot of stuff that involves spit and polish for Beta 4, and he has been working on it non-stop since around Christmas, so I do not have an ETA for Beta 4 as of yet. What Beta 4 will include, you'll have to check out Facebook and Discord to see what Goofy has posted and commented on. I don't know if we will have full combat back, and by full combat, to me, to other people, that means two different things. It means whether they have control of combat like Beta 2, or they have control of combat and have status effects like buffs and debuffs, bleeds, class augments, and everything like that. I don't really know as of this point, as I haven't really consolidated what Goofy has been saying about it in the last 2 months, but hopefully we do get Beta 4 soon, and I'm hoping we at least have controllable combat back. As for buffs and debuffs and everything, well, that is just a glorious wish list of a genie in a bottle. So today we're going to talk about some of the secrets that we never really knew in Marvel Avengers Alliance, and in streaming Redux Monday through Friday, when I do it on Twitch, usually at about 3 p.m. Eastern, we've discovered over the course of several weeks, mostly recently, that there's gear in the code of the game that never ever got released. And we've begun to find some of these pieces of gear, and it's been quite interesting. So, one thing I want to point out, if you have Beta 2 and you go into the A and FS folder, there are a lot of icons and files in here, including Shockwave Flash files and music, and icons of gear and agents and enemies and everything. This is a really cool folder to check out if you want to start giving yourself some Discord and forum avatars. I actually have a Red Skull icon in Discord that I have lifted from this, but if you go down through this directory, you'll see things like Daredevil, the trench coats, Dormammu, Constrictor. You'll see some ISO pictures, Shockwave files, MP3s, which are the game's music files and everything. There's the custom possessed pistol. There's some Drugger over there. So this is a good folder if you want to start decking yourself out on a forum somewhere or on Discord. This is one of the, I believe the like flight deck little thumbnails and everything. So kind of wanted to point this out because maybe not a lot of people have really dove into this folder, but it is a treasure trove of a lot of Redux's media. So just wanted to point that out. Anyway, let's go ahead and get to it. So I have my agent loaded up with 3 of the items that we found. We also found a store item at one point that obviously I don't have equipped, but when we posted it on Facebook, it turned out that the store item was a hidden item that was supposed to convert the flight suits back into being the agent when the flight suit died. According to the developer who commented on Facebook, and I like to keep their identities a little bit of a secret because I don't want them getting hounded. Lord knows if I could grab their ear, I'd be asking them a ton of questions myself, but I like to keep it super public. This way they have the ability to respond if they want to, rather than just straight up harass them. However, the developer mentioned that the patch that we discovered was the reason why we never had the flight suits appear until much later in the game. Apparently, it was broken, this little patch, and that was what the delay was in getting the flight suits working. So that was the first thing that we discovered a few weeks back. And that was kind of interesting. I'm scrolling through Facebook here on my second PC to see if I can find the name of it. It really wasn't that long ago, but there has definitely been a lot of content in our Facebook group, especially because of WandaVision, and no spoilers there, but you know, things related to WandaVision have definitely been hitting the group up. However, it was kind of interesting to hear that that particular item was one of the major reasons why the flight suits took so long, and we just happened to stumble upon the linchpin of it all. And to hear a developer say, yeah, like this is that's kind of why the flight suits took so long, because this item was fucked up. So we're getting into combat over here with Sif and Mantis. No relation to what's going on today. It's just what we happen to have in the last combat that I did. So I'm just going to do a few actions until we get to my agent. By the way, the name of the item was called the Power Up Pack. So I think we can find it here in the MAAR codes file. Perhaps not. It might actually... I might have to find it in the other one. I thought it would be in this one because I thought the other one was just weapons, but... let's see if we find it in here. Yeah, we're going to see a lot of... maybe pack might be an easier search term. Okay. It's not in the MAAR codes file. I'm going to look in the weapons code one. Huh. I'm not actually... that's weird that I'm not actually finding it. I perhaps found it one of the directories, but one of the developers did happen to say that it was the cause of the flight suits not working, and the item was called Power Up Pack. So now if we look at my agent, you'll see what looks like the Big Brother, except it's not. You'll see what looks like the signpost, except it's not. And you'll see what looks like a kind of standard golden sigh, except it's not. So here in this particular file, the weapon codes for MAA.txt and links will be in the description. If I search for psi, we'll see there's the heavy psi, and then there's the Electra psi number 2. See how I have flagged next to it? I did that because if we go to the original Avengers Alliance wiki and type in Electra, there is no such thing. There was no Electra psi in the game. If we search for psis, heavy, Grecian, custom Grecian, and then that's it. So this weapon is in the code of the file somewhere, and it does some reasonable damage, but it never actually appeared in Avengers Alliance. Now, the next one that you saw my agent equipped with looks like the Big Brother. And you see there's the little brother, there's the big brother, and then right below it, you'll see that little flagged parentheses again. So if we were to type in brother on the Avengers Alliance wiki, Brotherhood, passives, you'll see the big brother and the little brother, and then that's it. There is no Big Brother number 2. So again, what was the item? We know the little brother is the non-upgraded version of it. It was a quick action, nuclear launch detected. And then this one, of course, has increasing contamination, which goes with other pieces of the contamination set, gains a radiated chaos shot, and reduced cooldown for each piece. It was part of this set over here. Radiation injector, the photon ray, the premonition actuator, and Big Brother. No Little Brother, because Big Brother is the upgraded version, and no Big Brother number 2. So what the hell was the Big Brother number 2? And finally, you'll have this item over here, which looks like the signpost. However, unlike the signpost, look, I'm clicking on the enemy. If this was the signpost, you would see my agent using it, and I would be draining health and stamina, but instead, nothing is happening at all. See, it's called the Limbo Firestarter, and it doesn't seem to be doing anything, which means in the context of Beta 2, it is actually trying to do some kind of a buff. So there it is, Limbo Firestarter. I found it because I was searching for something in the area. I think it might have been the Ruby Quartz Rifle. Oh no, it was the Phoenix Pinion. And I happened to see Limbo Firestarter, and my brain went, wait a minute. I don't quite remember something called a Limbo Firestarter. And if we check the wiki again, look, Ruler of Limbo, references to magic, and then that's it. And if we search for Firestarter, there is such a thing. But it's this. It's an ISO for Human Torch. So what the hell was the Limbo Firestarter? And why did it have the icon for the signpost? And what exactly did it do? It seems it has no offensive capabilities whatsoever. It seems to be some kind of a buff item. And here when I use Big Brother number 2, it actually just calls it Big Brother. So I'm kind of curious as to what exactly all these things were, and really the only people who can answer it is the older devs. Now, I have not posted about the Big Brother number 2, nor have I posted about the Electra Psi, but I did happen to ask what was the Limbo Firestarter, and unfortunately none of the devs weighed in. We did get a dev response on the power-up pack. However, we did not get a response on the Limbo Firestarter. We had a bunch of people kind of offering some ideas, like maybe it was a signpost, and some other things like that. But unfortunately, we don't really have a direct idea as to what any of these items are. The fact that they all use icons related to other things in the game kind of give us an idea. It certainly makes sense that there would be an Electra Psi in the game at some point. There are tons of agent weapons that you can get that are based off of characters like Snicket and Cat's Claws and Sabertooth Claws and everything. What's weird is that the Limbo Firestarter shows up in this second code sheet that I have, but the others do not. If I search for Brother, I can't even get the Big or the Little Brother in this particular file for some reason. And if I search for Psi, we get some of them, but we don't get the Electra one. See, alphabetically, I would have passed it already. It would be around here somewhere, and it's not here. So, these are amazing secrets to the game. Why is it that some of these missing items show up in one of the files and not the other? And what were their original plans? This Avengers Alliance wiki, although out of date for Redux stuff, and there is now an Avengers Alliance Redux wiki, this contains every piece of information about the game when it was live. If it's not here, it wasn't in the game. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see if anybody will wind up somehow working these items into Redux when it comes time for Redux to go live. And the other thing is, what will these things do? We won't find out what some of these missing items will actually do until combat fully works. Because right now, buffs and debuffs aren't really working, so if they attempt to do a buff or a debuff and not do any physical damage, or magical damage, psychic damage, whatever, if it doesn't reduce hit points directly, it's currently not working. So we're not going to know what some of these items do until later on, and I'm really, really interested in finding out what the Electrocide, it certainly makes sense what it does. It doesn't take a genius to kind of extrapolate what it does. But the Big Brother 2, and especially the Limbo Firestarter, I am really interested to see what it does. And now I haven't gone through this file line by line. I've kind of scrolled briefly. Geez, I wonder, we may have found something else over here. It's just, okay, so it's just a type of the Psychic Man. I actually remember this item. Because of it applying migraine. And then there was this one, which was the quick action, which absorbs energy and does migraine. So this one was a little bit better. But yeah, I mean, if I had the time to go through and look at every line over here and go, let's see, do I remember this? Do I remember this? Oh, I don't remember that. I'm going to go check it out. And there's definitely been a few things where it was wrong. There were a few things where I was like, I don't remember this item, and I searched for it. I was like, oh yeah, there it is. It'd be really interesting if somebody had the time to go through this entire document and cross-reference it with the wiki and see just how many more items are in here that never made it to the game. So that's about it for the main content of this video. We've got about 3 items that we're really curious on finding out what they actually do. Can we somehow work that into Redux when it happens? I mean, the Big Brother, the Big Brother number 2, I would imagine we're not going to find a way of working that into the game because that already has a very direct item that's tied to a Spec Ops. But the Limbo Firestarter, maybe it does something we've never seen before, and somebody on the Redux team will go, oh, okay, so that's what that does? Yeah, I think I can write that into a mission or a Spec Ops or a PvP season or something like that. One of the other things that I'm going to be pitching, and I already have, but I haven't seen Goofy's response yet. During the streams recently, we were talking about items that were only available to either the beta testers or the Marvel XP program that was available in the beginning of the game. So if you don't remember what it was a 2012, I think it maybe survived a little bit into 2013. The Marvel XP program gave you rewards in MAA for doing MAA stuff and the Avengers Initiative game on mobile devices, which was a lot like the Infinity Blade series on iOS. The Exploiter, to me, is one of the items that really sticks out because this was from a link that you got when you were watching X-Play on G4 TV that would get you into the beta, and then you would get this item called the Exploiter. Not a lot of people had this thing. I did. That's the X-Play logo right in the center over there. I maybe know like one person ever who's had this. I'm hoping that we find a way of working the missing Marvel XP items into the game and the Exploiter, but I would like to see them be a badge of some sort. Some sort of something that you have to earn that acts as a bit of a status symbol. To me, the Exploiter was a huge status symbol for me back in the day because it meant that I was part of the beta, and that was a little bit rare to find. So I really liked you know, waving this thing around to be like, look at me, I have the exploiter. Like, rarely does anybody have that. So my idea that we came up with on stream is that once we're in the last beta before the release candidate, maybe having some kind of a achievement that if you 5-star X amount of missions, like 5-star every mission in the first 5 chapters during the final beta, you would earn one of these rewards of the exploiter or one of the missing Marvel XP pieces of gear. We would either give you the code to allow you to get it, or we would deliver a special zip that had it unlocked for you. And it's, you know, a little bit of a status symbol like, hey, I completed X during Y period of time. You know, I was able to get 5 stars in 5 chapters in the month of beta 8, let's say, before the final candidate came out. Some little badge or icon that says you did something cool, sort of like an Xbox achievement or a World of Warcraft achievement or a PlayStation trophy. And I think it would be cool to do something like that. I'm all for everybody getting access to the exploiter because it is a reasonable piece of gear when the Hugins Eye shows up because of staggered. However, the cooldown is really bad. It's 4 rounds. If it was like 3 rounds, I'd like it more. But 4 rounds is an absolutely ridiculously long cooldown for a quick action piece of gear that does blinded and staggered, even at AoE. I think this needs to be nerfed to 2 or 3 rounds. But anyway, sure, I would love for everybody to get access to it, but I think it would also be cool if some people had, you know, maybe for the first year of the game or so, or maybe until the dailies showed up, that they had a piece of gear that they could be like, I did this cool thing that not that many other people did, and here's my little reward for it. And then maybe a year into the game, when dailies show up, or whenever Goofy rolls out dailies to the game, make it available in the dailies, and then people can catch up and get it. Similar to that stupid can opener that was from a PvP season, the Beyond Corp can opener. I really pushed in season 12 to get this and fell short, and then it showed up in the or in incursions later in the game, and I only saw it on one spinner, and I didn't spin it, and then I never saw it ever again. And this is my white whale. This is my Moby Dick that I have never got and always wanted. But, you know, the game did give us this in the incursions, sort of like dailies later in the game. So if you didn't get it during this PvP season, you had a shot of getting it. That's what I would like to see happen with the XP gear and the exploiter and everything. Give people a way of earning it first, and then give people a way of getting it randomly later on. So let me know what you think about that idea, and let me know what you think about these hidden items that we're digging up. And if you happen to have a line on any items that you've come across that were not in the original game and can't find on the wiki. Thanks everybody for checking in with this video. Stay safe out there, and hope to see you guys on the Twitch stream Monday through Friday at about 3 p.m. Eastern. Thanks everybody.